For so many of us, gaming is this amazing hobby. It's how we unwind, how we connect with friends, how we compete. But there's a point where that passion can start to cross a line, and it becomes something way more complicated and, well, all-consuming. So, let's get into it.
And that's really the big question, isn't it? How can you tell the difference between just having healthy fun and a dependency that's actually harmful? That line can be a whole lot blurrier than you might think. So, first things first, we've got to draw a line in the sand. I mean, how does the medical world even define a real gaming problem? And how is that different from someone who's just super passionate about their favorite game?
Well, the World Health Organization actually recognizes something called Internet Gaming Disorder. And the official definition really comes down to three key things. 1. You lose control over your gaming. 2. You start prioritizing it over everything else in your life. And 3. You keep playing even when it's causing really obvious negative problems. And notice, it's not about how many hours you clock in. It's all about the impact those hours are having on your life.
Yeah, this chart here just lays it all out so clearly. Over on the left, you've got that healthy balance. Gaming is just one piece of a full life. But on the right, that balance is completely gone. Gaming becomes this heavy weight, pulling you away from real life, and it leaves you feeling guilty instead of satisfied. It really boils down to one simple question. Who's in control? Is it you, or is it the game?
Okay, so that naturally brings up the next big question. Why are some of these games so ridiculously hard to put down? The answer isn't just about having good willpower. It's about chemistry. It's about what's physically happening inside your brain.
Everybody say hello to dopamine. This little chemical is the brain's reward system. It's what your brain releases when you do something that feels good, like eating a great meal or getting a compliment. And, well, video games are literally engineered to tap directly into this system.
And what happens is it creates this incredibly powerful loop. The game gives you a challenge, you take action, and you complete it. And then boom, you get a reward, and that sweet, sweet dopamine hit. Your brain absolutely loves that feeling, and it immediately wants another one, which just makes you want to play again and again and again.
And you gotta understand, this powerful loop is no accident, not at all. Game designers are basically masters of psychology. They build their games from the ground up using very specific, very intentional techniques designed to keep us hooked.
So, for example, there's something called variable rewards. Think about random loot boxes. They work just like a slot machine. It's the unpredictability that keeps you pulling the lever. Then there's social validation, leaderboards and guilds that tap into our basic human need for status. And then there's the big one, FOMO, the fear of missing out, which uses these limited time events to create this powerful feeling that you have to log in every single day or you'll miss something huge.
All right, so we get the why, we see the brain chemistry and the sneaky design tricks. But what's the so what? What are the actual real-world consequences when gaming spirals out of control? Let's take a look beyond the screen. Yeah, the mental toll, it can be huge. The real irony is that something that often starts as an escape from stress can end up creating way more anxiety and depression in the long run. And that irritable, snappy feeling you get when you can't play, that's a classic withdrawal symptom. And it's not just mental. The physical side is just as serious. The blue light from our screens completely messes with our sleep. Sitting for hours leads to a sedentary lifestyle, and all those repetitive motions can cause chronic pain. We're talking gamer's thumb, eye strain. These aren't just minor aches, they're real long-term health problems. And of course, all of this starts to bleed into our real-world responsibilities. For a student, it could mean tanking grades. For someone with a career, it could mean your productivity plummets, you miss out on promotions, or you could even lose your job. Those wins in the virtual world can come at the cost of major losses in the real one. And maybe the saddest part is the toll it takes on our relationships. People start to pull away from their family and friends, choosing their in-game guild over real-life connections. And the real irony here is that a search for community online can lead to feeling profoundly isolated and alone in reality.
And, this quote from a partner, it says it all, doesn't it? It really highlights that deep emotional pain that loved ones feel when they feel like they've been replaced by a game. It's such a powerful reminder that this doesn't just affect the person playing.
Okay, so when you hear stories like that, it just makes it so clear how important it is to be able to spot the warning signs. So for this last section, let's focus on awareness. How can you actually tell when a simple habit is starting to become genuinely harmful?
Nobody just wakes up one day with a full-blown addiction. It's a slide. It starts small. You're playing a little bit more. You drop another hobby.
but it can escalate all the way to a complete loss of control, where the consequences are just devastating. Seeing a timeline like this can really help you see where someone might be on that path.
And of course, you've got denial, which is a massive piece of the puzzle. I mean, how many of these sound familiar? They're the things people tell themselves to protect the habit. And hearing these, especially that classic, "I can quit anytime I want," is a major, major red flag.
So here's a moment for some real, honest self-reflection. Ask yourself this: have you ever lied about how much you play? Ever downplayed it or tried to hide it from somebody? Because lying is so often a sign that, deep down, you know something's wrong.
But look, here's the most important thing to remember. This awareness, it's not about shame. It's about empowerment. Just acknowledging that there might be a problem is the single biggest and most powerful step you can possibly take to get back in the driver's seat and find that healthy balance again. And really, that just leaves us with a much bigger question, doesn't it? This isn't just about video games. It's about our entire digital lives. We live in a world that is literally designed for distraction, engineered to capture our attention. So the challenge for every single one of us is figuring out how we define our relationship with technology instead of letting it define us.